And we're on to day 3 in my little workout routine. We have bridges and squats today. Starting off warming up with the table bridge. I'm really working here these days on trying to make sure I have enough tension in my upper back. I've noticed that that's one of the missing links in my bridge progress, even though bridging is often very much about the muscles along the spine, the glutes, the hips, but my upper back was not as tense as it could be. So that's what I'm kind of focusing on here, getting my shoulders loose and around. With me, bridging has always been my Achilles heel, always been a little bit tight and stiff in the shoulders. So it's not something that I really should be much of a role model for by any means. Too many years spent hunched over the handlebars of a bicycle for sure. So you can see here I'm getting a little bit more range. My shoulders for today, for some reason, were very tight. I think it's because of all the handstand work that I was doing yesterday. So I'm not getting nearly as high as I usually do, but that is what I'm focusing on, is keeping my shoulder blades tucked inwards and down along my spine. I'm trying to get my hips up a little bit higher too. I've noticed that's one of the things that is preventing me from getting very high as well. Doing a couple little head touches here. This is a good way to kind of get some extra strength in the shoulders. But for the most part, for me at this stage, I'm finding I get the most benefit from really holding the isometric at the top. Of course, bridges can be done dynamically and isometrically. There we go. Shoulders are opening a little bit more. You can see how I'm getting a little bit higher in the shoulder off the floor. I've got a little bit less of a bend in my elbows. So starting to get a little bit better. But, progress is made oftentimes inch by inch or even millimeter by millimeter. Sometimes people ask me, like, how long should it be until I can reach a certain level of proficiency in calisthenics? And some things, it could take just a few weeks. Other things, like bridges like this, I've been working on this for years. It's definitely a case-by-case basis. Some things you'll make a lot of progress in quickly. Sometimes it may take a while. But the good news is, even a little progress will make a big difference in how you look and feel. So there's my bridge workout for you. Now time to warm up for the squat progressions. This is a warm-up workout that I posted a little bit on about a week or so ago, I think. But a lot of your success, particularly with the single leg squats and narrow leg squats, comes from mobility in the hips, mobility in the ankles, mobility in the hips. And I find that practicing this sort of thing on a little bit before you do your squats can make a very big difference in your control, your balance, your stability, and able to put tension in your hips. Because that's also something that I've noticed, at least for me periodically, is that it's the tension and strength in my glutes, my hamstrings, the sides of my hips, the inside of my hips. These are the things that often make or break my pistol squats if I'm having a good day or not. I also start off doing some narrow squats. This is a good way to help teach you how to pull into the bottom of the squat, see if there's any tension or stiffness in the hips that are going to prohibit you, because pistol squats require that you have the leg in front of you, not necessarily out to the side. All right, first set, here we go. A little bit more stable and solid than I've been in the past. Trying to get very deep with these. It may not look all that deep, but this is pretty deep for me. And again, progress isn't about doing things so to speak the right way. It's, are you doing things a little bit better than what you had before? It's not about fitting your technique into a predetermined mold that someone says is the best way to do it. It's, what did you do before and how are you doing things a little bit better? So right now I'm doing things better because I have a little bit more tension in my hips, a little bit more stability, I have some less wobble, and that's most important. But it's amazing how with pistols you get so much more resistance for every millimeter of depth that you get. I used to do pistols, I usually used to get 10, 15 reps on each side. Here you can see, I lost my tension a little bit there in the hips. That's why I put a hand down, because I lost a little balance. You can also see my knee is bending and breaking a little bit as I come down. So that's showing right there. Yep. So that's another thing to work on. Again, I always tell people this, videotape yourself. It's so amazing what you can find when you see yourself on camera, all these little things that you can improve on. So I'm basically trying to, like I was saying, get down into depth. Every millimeter that you get deeper, you're getting a lot more resistance and tension in the muscle. So if you're coming out and saying, well, pistols are really easy, they're really not that much of a challenge for me, one of the ways you can make it much more difficult is get rid of any wobble at all and try and basically put your butt on the back of your shoe, in the heel of your shoe, and your knee right into your chest. Try and eliminate as much forward lean as possible. When your hips are really strong, the way I look at it is I don't sit back when I squat anymore. That might have applications in some forms of like weight bearing, like weightlifting style lifts, and it might be better in some forms of sport. But I've definitely found a lot more stability, control, balance, a lot less stress on the knees when I basically figure that my hips are going down, not necessarily back. I mean, your hips are going to go back no matter what you do. Telling someone that they have to bend or stick their hips behind them in order to squat is kind of like saying make sure you put one foot in front of the other when you're walking. It's a requirement of the natural technique. You're not going to be able to not do it. But I think there's an excessive amount of this sitting with the hips way back these days. And I know for me, made a lot more progress when I basically started thinking of put your hips down, sitting straight down, starting to accelerate a little bit fast there. Losing strength, it's fatiguing. You can see I'm only getting about 6-7 repetitions on each side. So getting things to be more difficult with extra depth. There we go. That's more of the depth. I got a little bounce there, though. I can smooth that out a little bit. Sometimes the bounce can be an indication of not quite enough strength as well. And again, you don't have to be doing this kind of squat. You can do squats with holding on to something in your hands, a TRX, or maybe a bar on a Smith machine to help you. Use the squat that is most applicable for you. Do not copy my workout. This is what's best for me, but you have to figure out what works best for you. And you'll have that sweet spot where you have good tension in the legs, but not really any stress or strain on the joints. So there you go. That is my bridge and squat workout. I hope maybe this can help you in some way. Let me know if you have comments and questions down below. Talk to you next week. Till then, be fit, live free.